Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Gilda Evans, bringing you the Autism Resource Podcast. This podcast and the ARP website are your one stop knowledge and resource base for autism and much more. I'm happy to have Matt Golden join me as my guest today. Matt co founded MapHabit along with neuroscientist Dr. Stuart Zola to disrupt the standard of care for neurodivergent populations, including those with dementia, autism, intellectual and developmental disabilities, and brain injuries. Those people who need cognitive support typically struggle with activities of daily living. By teaching caregivers to be thoughtful observers and critical thinkers, and empowering individuals with the ability to manage their daily routines with personalized step by step instructions, he is helping to transform independence across the lifespan. Welcome, Matt, and thank you so much for taking time to join me and discuss the work that you do.
Great to be here, Gilda, and I've been looking forward to talking to you.
Well, I'm glad to have you here today. So, to get us started, many of our listeners are parents navigating the challenges of building independence for their children. How does MapHabit help individuals with autism develop daily living skills, and especially during key transitions like exiting high school, for example?
Sure. Well, MapHabit, as you had mentioned, is a habit building app and platform that allows an individual who struggles with daily routines to visually map out their habits. So, a great example of that is brushing your teeth. There may be 4 or 5 steps involved with brushing your teeth for one person. There may be more for others. But in general, if that is a skill one is trying to learn, what we do is we will use our mobile device's camera, take a picture of each step, maybe a short video, and then create basically a map. And what these steps are could be something like walking into your bathroom, getting out your toothbrush and toothpaste, putting the toothpaste on the toothbrush, brushing your teeth, a quick video of that, and then washing everything off and maybe washing your hands as well. So those very basic step-by-step routines can be so powerful when you can visually follow them. It really bolts on to some of the best parts of behavioral analysis, which is task analysis, video and picture modeling, peer modeling as well. So it really does help from a whole broad range of routines from individuals who are, working on their morning or evening routines to, balancing your checkbook or applying for your first job or obtaining that employment and knowing what to do before, during, and after your job. So the whole idea is really to position all sorts of individuals towards success and independence, while at the same time providing much needed support to caregivers and the circle of support so that they feel confident and can really also play a part in the skill building for the individuals that they love and work with.
Okay. Now, we're in California. We happen to be in California. California's self-determination program gives families more choice and control over their services. There are other programs in other states as well that do similar things. How have you seen MapHabit support self-directed care models in California and other states? And what flexibility does it offer to customize routines for different needs?
Sure. So the self-direction, participant direction, self-determination programs, there's a lot of different phrases throughout the country, but essentially they all in our experience boil down to an individual and a family to be able to determine what programs and services that they will use, and they're not really gated by a maybe a particular provider organization that's associated with their insurance and whatnot. So I think California has done an amazing job building this out and leading the way. We have partnerships here in Georgia as well with an organization named the Participant Directed Advocates of Georgia. It's a nonprofit that works alongside the Department of Behavioral Health, and we work with several other self-direction programs, including the Self-Directed Center, which Molly Morris and Brenda Vitale in California operate that nonprofit as well. So essentially, what we do is MapHabit's app can also be included on a tablet, often a financial management service like PPL, for example, may provide MapHabit as an option for various independent facilitators or families themselves to choose to include in their care plan for the individual that they're supporting. So, during that process, they would choose to add MapHabit in, and once they are enrolled in MapHabit, we will do about a 1 hour training of the platform. We'll talk with the family, the individual, various members of the circle of support, which could include therapists. They could include behavioral analysts or, registered behavioral technicians, even, other, family members, and pick maybe one different routine, one or two routines that they're really trying to build independence with. Like that example I gave early on, it could be something like brushing your teeth. It could be, how do you, follow certain job requirements and, maybe cleaning up dishes at a food service company or, preparing meals, etc. You're able to take those pictures step by step, whether you're the individual themselves or other members of the circle of support, which can include a supportive employment employer, and visually map those out so that really any kind of organization or individual, when they're looking to learn these new routines, they'll basically store that within our app, and the individual or other members can kind of build these routines, schedule them, modify them as time goes on. So they really kind of bolt on to what the neurodivergent community has embraced so much, which are social stories. You're able to really make these customizable social stories that can be used in any kind of situation, and it really does help. A lot of the goals of self-directed care models, which is independence and the ability to choose how you want to really manage your daily routines.
All right, so as we were talking, a couple of questions came to my mind. Does the app also provide not only step-by-step instructions for doing certain tasks, let's say, but also reminders, hey, it's time to take your medicine, or hey, it's time to call and check in with so and so, or it's time to do something else, and other functionalities as well. And also you mentioned things that users would do out in the community, right? So you said that it's on a tablet, but out in the community, typically you have your smartphone with you, right?
Yep.
So is this something that they can also access not only on a tablet at home, but also on their smartphone out in the community?
Yes, great question, Gilda. So MapHabit is an app that's available in our favorite app stores. That's the iOS App Store, could be the Android Play Marketplace. So it doesn't matter if you have a phone or a tablet, you can access MapHabit really from anywhere. Because we are an evidence-based program, and assistive technology and enabling technology does cover the costs of a tablet. We sometimes provide that along with the service, but so many people have their own smartphones already, and they don't need a tablet to use it. Um, to follow up on one of your other questions is, the beauty of these visual maps are they can be used for almost anything really your imagination is the only limitation for how you would use it. So whether that's what we call activities of daily living for making your favorite meal or, dental hygiene or even toileting, that's one example, but there's a lot of other things like how do I use, public transportation, or I need to schedule my medication routine in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, and they may look a little bit different. So you would build maps or just a simple reminder, and then you would get a push notification on your phone, your mobile device, and it will cue and prompt you to do that task at the time that either you have set it as a self-advocate or the other members of your circle of support. So it is very flexible in the use case, and it does align with really any kind of mobile device that is iOS or Android based.
All right, thank you for clarifying that. Now, one of the biggest gaps that parents and other caregivers face is the drop off in services, the services cliff, as it's often referred to, right, during young adulthood. So, how is MapHabit being used to bridge this gap and promote employment readiness, let's say, or community participation for transition aged youth?
I'm really glad you asked that question, Gilda. It's it is a known fact that a lot of the times, when you have maybe your employer's health plan, you may have access to different services for your dependents or your children. As we know, as people age, especially into that 26 range, that often is, they have to have their own types of insurance. So what do you do at that point? There are Medicaid waivers that typically come in at that point of time. And there are, other types of self-direction programs, Katie Beckett waiver. I know the Lanterman Act in California has a lot of flexibility there as well. But it typically is that services cliff. And, often, unfortunately, a lot of the great benefits of applied behavioral analysis or some very, intensive, therapy and the ability to have access to direct support workers sometimes fades. And the beauty of having technology is as those in-person supports phase, you can really leverage a lot of the benefits of those by using MapHabit for, everyday routines like balancing your checkbook. How do you I need a checklist for what I have to do before I leave my house to get ready for work. Or that example that I provided before on, leveraging different kinds of things in the community, like, transportation, taking public transportation, or even, reserving something on Uber. I think we all take some of these daily routines for granted, but those that need cognitive support, just even if it's one or two pictures that serve as that visual cue, it actually taps a spared region of your brain called the habit system. This is the muscle memory of your brain, aka the secret sauce of MapHabit. You're able to use this part of your brain that when you follow these pictures step by step and build these maps, you develop this kind of automatic, non-conscious recollection where you then are able to complete those activities with much more ease and independence. And that's one of the powers of MapHabit is not only is it customizable and typically a lower cost option than some of the in-person supports, but it really does help bridge that gap and promote employment for individuals that are really looking to transition to greater independence in their mid 20s and beyond.
Okay, now you mentioned visual supports. Visual supports are often referred to as kind of a gold standard, right, for behavior change. Without mentioning names, can you share a success story where MapHabit made a real difference in someone's independence or quality of life?
Yeah, absolutely. There's fortunately over the 7.5 years that we've been running. We started MapHabit, both Dr. Zola and my. There's a lot of great areas in which MapHabit has helped people. I'll give you one. It may seem like a small example, but it just kind of epitomizes some of the power how a very basic visual map can really improve not only the individual, but the entire circle of support. We have, one of our users who really wants to help out in the weekend routines. And I know at least in my house, we do laundry every weekend. And oftentimes with laundry, there are different articles of clothing. They may be, things that you wear, like your shirt or your pants or socks. Could also mean towels as well. Towels come in different shapes and sizes, and in order for them to fit in the closet or where you place these items, they need to be folded a certain way. And there may be preferences that members of the family have in which they are folded in a particular way. And if you don't do that the way and kind of honor that person's preferences, it can frustrate them, and it can also create kind of a dynamic in the household where maybe that individual shouldn't be helping because they can't quote unquote do it right. So for this individual, we help kind of train the parent on how to take these small 5-10 second videos for the most common articles of clothing, how to fold them the right way. And one of the individuals on MapHabit basically follows that visual map every time. And she's able to do the steps and for the 10 or 15 different variations of clothing or towels, she can do it independently. And that serves so many purposes. It gives her that dignity and happiness that she's really supporting the household and doing things that are meaningful. It reduces some of the stress and anxiety, maybe from the primary, support or a parent, who then can feel confident that that activity can be done to their liking. So I know that may not seem like a big deal, but it's a really powerful example of, the small things that maybe can create microaggressions throughout the house and maybe some discord. If you can use visual maps for very, practical things, it can really help, with that independence and confidence building so that ultimately they can build towards, just a much, happier life.
I think that's a great example, and certainly one that many of us, those who may identify as neurodiverse or neurodivergent, and those who identify as neurotypical, right? That we
Yes.
can all relate to, right?
Yep.
It's like, at this point, I'd like to ask you, is there anything I haven't asked that you would like to mention? And what is the most important takeaway that you feel our listeners should glean from our conversation?
Sure. Well, I'll first start with if your listeners are interested, they can find more information about MapHabit on our website. It's at www.maphabit.com. MapHabit is spelled MapHabit.com. So really, I think the main takeaway is there are a lot of options out there, and I think not everyone knows about some of the great technologies that are available and very practical ways to remain independent and utilize a lot of the things that maybe have been successful early on with PECs and token boards and visual supports. But often, as you age, some of those animated pictures and pieces of paper that you've kind of done it yourself, it just becomes very hard and cumbersome. There are really great ways you can leverage, visual supports using your smartphone to be independent, and that's the whole, mission of our company is to support independence and give people a way that they can thrive in really anything that they're trying to do.
Well, I think that's really some very great and useful information, and I think it's a terrific resource. So I want to thank you, Matt, for your time and for sharing your story with us today.
My pleasure, Gilda. I appreciate the opportunity and thank you so much.
If you like what you hear, please subscribe to the podcast. You can find it on Apple iTunes, Amazon Music, Spotify, and other popular platforms. We'd appreciate you taking the time to leave us a review. You can also listen to the podcast on YouTube at ARP Social, where you'll find bonus content. And be sure to follow us on Facebook or Instagram to get up-to-date notifications about the latest news and episodes. If you would like more information on anything else we've covered on the Autism Resource Podcast, visit us online at autismresourceproject.org/podcast. Be sure to check out our growing website often since we are continually adding useful information and resources. I want to thank our listeners for spending part of their day with us. This is the Autism Resource Podcast, and I'm Gilda Evans, reminding you to take care of yourself and that special person in your life.